What happens when you mix Gothic-style horrors with a childlike aesthetic? You get The Twisted Tales of Spike McFang, a unique RPG that blends colorful sprites into a world centered around vampires and other creatures of the night. I remember seeing this game in Nintendo Power, and the art and graphics really called out to me as a kid. I even have a drawing of Rudy, one of the game's characters. For whatever reason, I never got around to playing it back then, but I recently corrected that oversight. My time with this Twisted Tale is mixed, with lots of annoying aspects getting in the way of what otherwise might have been an enjoyable experience. The Twisted Tales of Spike McFang is an action RPG that revolves around Spike, a young vampire and son of Lord Dracuman, the ruler of the Kingdom of Vladimasco. Spike has yet to mature into his blood-sucking ways of his adult peers. Instead, he enjoys consuming tomatoes, which both act as a health bar for the young protagonist and as a means to heal himself in a pinch. The game tones down all the creatures associated with the many monsters Spike encounters throughout his journey, settling for a cutesy art style that is kid-friendly. As such, the story is very lighthearted and silly in nature. While Spike's sprite is slightly goofy in design, he and the rest of the gang look crisp as they explore the different areas. Most locations have mild platforming puzzles for the player to tackle, but there are no real brain teasers in this game. Spike gets news that his parents have been kidnapped, but he has already put down a down payment to train at Fighter Island, so he opts to go through a course before actually helping out the kingdom. This area acts as a good tutorial of the game's basic mechanics. Spike can jump over objects, use his cape to spin attack enemies nearby, and also charge up his hat to use a ranged attack. The top hat move will serve as Spike's main source of damage for most of the game. The drawback to this ranged attack is that it takes a second to charge, and it also locks Spike into place. Spike can pick a direction he wants to fling his hat at, and, depending on the equipped hat, it will fly in a unique pattern before returning to his head. The spin move feels poorly implemented. The close proximity of its range never makes it feel truly safe to use as a reliable source of damage, and if the player spams the move, Spike will get dizzy and become uncontrollable for a few seconds. This happens way too often and leaves the young vampire vulnerable for what feels like an eternity. It is pretty frustrating watching Spike get dizzy in the middle of a fracas, especially with how quickly the status takes root and immobilizes the player. While combat can be a drag, the visuals surrounding it are top-notch for an SNES title. There is a lot of variety with monster designs, and all the bosses look great. Spike is even joined by one of his two companions as he makes his way through the game. These NPCs are very helpful in battle, as they do not have any hit points to manage, and can also deal decent damage to enemies. On the flip side, enemies' health bars are represented by garlic cloves. Spike and the enemy he is facing will have their hit points represented in the top right and left sides of the screen. At least players are able to track how long a battle might take, even if some bosses circumvent this system with a new meter once they change forms. There are a few items to collect in this game. Spike can purchase new hats, which provide better damage and some new flying patterns to tinker with in fights. There are also cards to purchase, and they have a myriad of uses, such as casting magic against the enemies on screen, or ones that can heal the young hero. Unfortunately, most of the offensive spells do not seem as useful as the ability to heal Spike. There's also a teleport spell that will send Spike out of a dungeon back to Professor Steam, who will also provide a full recovery. The issue lies in the grind required to gain experience and collect money for all these items. Luckily, there are not a lot of hats to purchase, and the max level for Spike is 16. The music in Spike McFang fits the carefree atmosphere the game presents to the player. Most tracks are whimsical in nature and really reflect the overall happy-go-lucky demeanor of the game. Even most dungeon themes offer little sense of dread and despair. That's not to say that the soundtrack is bad. There are lovely blends of jazz and other upbeat songs found throughout. Overall, The Twisted Tales of Spike McFang is more tame than twisted. I did not enjoy the amount of grinding needed to level up, and the fact that I also was not a fan of the battle system made the grind a twofold irritation. Still, the game is very pleasant to look at, with the characters and locations all popping off the screen. If it weren't for the annoying combat issues, this is a game I would definitely replay. If I had played this game as a kid, I would have more leeway with some of the setbacks, but as it is, I would rather replay games that were less tedious. This review is purely comparing this game to other SNES RPGs. Nintendo Power Issue 61 has an article for this game. RP Gamer scored this game a 2.5 out of 5.